this right here, my friend, is a tricky, sticky situation. When your kids come to you and you're like, okay, honey, like it's time to read. I know we need to practice. You might be slipping behind a little bit. And this is what they say. No, I don't want to. I hate reading. It's as if like all the wind was just sucked out of your sails, and it can leave parents feeling like, how do I respond? And the most common response, I know I'm so guilty of saying this to my son when he says he hates something. No, you don't. No, you don't. And we come at them with that statement, immediately disagreeing what they say. And then what happens? What happens when you come at it like, oh, no, you don't. You don't hate it. You love it. You love it. You love it. You're just tired. Oh, what ends up happening so many times when we come with that strategy where they say, I hate reading. No, you don't. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. You end up in a power struggle. And do you know who wins when you're in a power struggle between a parent and a child or a grown-up and a child? No one. No one wins. Because either you get them to read, but they are like fighting about it, and they all of a sudden have this idea in their head of reading and learning and these activities are something that I don't like because I end up fighting with my grown-up about it. I don't like it. This is a bad situation. And they end up having these connotations around reading and learning with you that are negative, and we don't want that. Or, so that's if you win and get your kid to read, they end up getting this bad thing in their head about reading. Or they win and they don't have to read. You end up going, whatever, we'll just skip it tonight, but we're reading tomorrow. We're going to do it double the time tomorrow. We've all been there. You're not alone if you've been there. So there is no winners when you're in that power struggle. So what I want to do is I want to set you up with a couple different strategies to try next time you have this conversation with your child, whether it's about reading or vegetables, cleaning their room, math, whatever it is. When they say they hate something, here are some strategies you can take that aren't going to ignite that power struggle. And I want to go into this saying that everything we do as a parent is a test. We are scientists. That's what we truly are as parents, because children are all different from each other. And something that works one day might not work the next day. Something that works for your older child might not work for your younger child. So instead of getting frustrated with that, I really try to get in the scientist mindset of, okay, this is an experiment. I'm going to try this thing out. If it goes great, awesome, I'm going to keep doing it. If it doesn't, awesome. Now I know one thing that doesn't work and I'm going to try something out next time. So that's why I like to give a few different solutions so that you can try things out with your child, see which one fits your family, your vibe, your child the best, and go from there. Okay. So we're going to go through 3 of them. I have more, and if people like it, I can do more, but I have 3 to start with. These are 3 things we're going to try instead of, no, you don't hate it. You don't hate it. The first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to write the word scientist here, just to remind us that we are always, as a parent, a scientist. And that is a good thing. That is part of the fun in life, is we are learning and growing and doing better just a little bit every time. Even when we don't do the right thing, we're doing better. We're learning. Got to try to spin it any way we can. All right, this first one we're going to do is we're going to go over a counter example. Okay, your child comes at you. I hate reading. And what you're going to do, instead of going right for that, no, you don't, you're going to try to invalidate their belief. You're going to use some invalidation here. And how this looks is if you say something like, you hate reading. Interesting. Has there ever been a time you didn't? Ooh, and I'm supposed to go out. You didn't hate reading. And you can tweak that slightly. That came out a little weird, but you know what I'm saying here. Has there ever been something you didn't hate reading? Hey, I saw you reading the back of the cereal box. You got pretty into it, if you ask me. When you read that back of the cereal box, sorry, my phone was going off. You really got into it. You enjoyed it. There were some funny jokes on there. Or, hey, you know what? I remember that one time you picked up a book and read it to the dog and you were smiling and giggling. Or I remember that time you brought a piece of homework home and you could read that entire sentence and you had a smile across your face. So has there ever been a time you can think of that you didn't hate reading? And now you're sending their brain on a little quest of like, well, maybe not all the time I don't hate it. Oh, awesome. So now you've left a little room. You've opened up a little door in their brain going, well, I don't hate it all the time. Okay, great. This is a great place to start. So bringing up a counter example, a time where that was not true, and invalidating the belief that I hate reading. Interesting. You haven't always hated reading. There are things you do like. Let's think of those times. And it just shifts them into a thought of, oh, I don't always hate reading. And it can send you on a really good conversation about how maybe it's just not today you don't feel like reading, or maybe it's this material. You can have more of a conversation of why they're feeling these big feelings, right? Our second thing you can do is you can come up with a metaphor of a time they didn't like something and then did. So how I would do this, and this is a real life example, is if my son came to me and said, I hate reading. I'd go, oh, interesting. Okay. So you feel like you hate reading right now. So I'm validating how he's feeling. I'm not shutting him down right away. Oh, interesting. I remember when you hated the movie Frozen the first time we watched it. He did. We watched it when my daughter came along and she was young and he thought it was too girly. I hate this movie. But then you know how it gets with girls. My daughter loved it. So we watched it every day for the next week. And by the end of the week, he was singing along with all the songs. He was sitting down. He was eating popcorn with us. So I'm like, do you remember how you used to hate Frozen? And you said you hated it. And then over time, it started to grow on you. And you ended up kind of enjoying it. And now when we put Frozen on, you have no problem with it. Do you remember how that went? Well, yeah. I wonder if that could happen here. I wonder if you feel like you don't like it right now. But if we keep giving it a chance, and if we keep trying different books, and maybe we read different places around the house, maybe it can start to grow on you. And then you're opening that door in their brain again. You're leaving just a little bit of a corner open to like, well, yeah, I guess that has happened before. I guess I have not enjoyed something and now it's okay. Interesting. So coming at with that metaphor. And if you don't have a specific time for them, think of a time for yourself. Borrow my Frozen one. Say you used to hate Frozen and now you don't hate Frozen. Whatever it takes just to show them that sometimes things have to grow on us over time. And that's kind of the point. And we're just leaving that little door open. It might not be perfect right away, but if we can just kind of get their wheels spinning like, oh, maybe it's very, very powerful. And the third one I have is redefine. So we're giving their thought and the story they're telling themselves. What they're telling themselves is a story. The story is, I hate reading. It's just a story. It doesn't need to be something that they clutch onto their entire lives. It's kind of like wearing a sweater. The sweater they're wearing right now is I hate reading sweater. We can take that sweater off and put a different sweater on anytime we want. We are not living in that sweater our whole lives. And that's what we're kind of showing them is we're going to redefine. We are going to change the meaning of what they're saying. So the phrase I like to use for this one is it really about blank reading, hating reading, or could it be about blank? And I'm going to leave it kind of blank because it takes too long to write. Is it really about you hating reading? You really hate reading? Or are you just excited to play your video game? Is it really about hating reading? You really hate reading? Or are you nervous that this book might be a little tricky for you? Is that what's going on? So we're kind of giving them other words and other things. And this is where you can use your own judgment with your own child of what is it that they're really saying? Because they're probably not actually saying that they hate reading. So going at this in a way of curiosity. Notice that all of these are kind of building in, you're curious, you're trying to learn more about them. And you're also trying to get them to think in a different way that's going to guide them towards a positive conversation, opening their mind to the possibility that it's not that they hate reading, it could be something else. They should give it more chance and more tries to see if they do enjoy it. And this is just 3 different ways. There are different patterns you can use. These are called sleight of mouth patterns. I did not create these. I learned about these myself and have been trying them out with my own kids, and they're powerful. They're just simple little thought switches and framing things a different way to help us as humans see things in different ways. So many times we tell ourselves stories and we think that these are the truth. These are the gospel truth. Everybody thinks this. This is how it is. I'm going to feel this forever. And it's just not true. If we can just shift our perspective slightly, just a little bit, we can see things from a whole different angle. And these are just simple ways we can help our kids do that. And think of yourself. Is there something that you say you hate? For me, what is something I hate? I hate celery. I hate celery. Is there a counter example? Is there a time that I didn't hate celery? Well, yeah, I like it when it's in soup. Okay, so I don't hate celery. I already just convinced myself I don't hate celery. I like it when it's in soup. Is there a time I didn't like a food and now I do? Yes, of course. Is it really about not liking celery, or is it really about like, I'm still like learning to like vegetables sometimes. There's some vegetables. There's just ways we can do this to ourselves. It's kind of like Jedi mind tricks that we can help ourselves work past some of these stories that might be limiting us, because it's limiting your child, right? If they're saying, I hate reading, that's limiting them, because then they're not going to spend as much time reading. They're going to drag their feet the whole time. They're going to do the bare minimum. And it's just a story they're telling themselves. We need to rewrite that story so they say, you know what? I don't really hate reading. It could be this other thing going on, or I might just not be in the mood, or I might need to just find a different book or something. But if we can help them get through that and show them you don't hate reading, we can help them read more, which is going to help them learn more. And they're going to become better readers, and they're going to learn more things, and they're going to believe in themselves, and all these wonderful things are going to come from it. So my call to action for you, pick one of these. Which one do you want to try out? Next time your child comes to you, and it can be about reading or about anything, and they say, I hate this. I don't want to do it. I hate it. Which one are you going to try? Have it like in the back of your mind, like, oh, I'm so excited for you to come and tell me this because I want to try this out. And remember, you're a scientist. You are a scientist. So if you try it out and it doesn't work out the first time, okay. It doesn't mean that, oh, this doesn't work, I'm going to stop forever. No, it means, okay, what different angle can I take? Can I try a different script? Maybe they just need more time to process it, or whatever it is. Come at it as a scientist. This is a test, and get excited to find the results no matter what happens. So yay, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you are subscribed if you're not already, because I'm going to be dropping tons of different goodies for parents to help make reading, learning, homework, all those things feel better for you and for your kids. Let's get your kids thriving. All right, catch you in the next one.